Hello. Today we will go over how to create an Azure virtual machine with SAP Business Objects Ready capability via the Protiviti offering. Once you've navigated to this page, you can start by clicking Get It Now. In this next page, you will be prompted to pick either a standard or premium package to deploy on the virtual machine. The difference here is the standard package is just simply the virtual machine with SAP Business Objects on it, and the premium package gets you 10 support tickets per month and 4 hours of initial setup assistance from Protiviti engineers like myself. So the difference mainly is that you will be getting additional support to the business objects environment. Today I'll just be going over how to simply set up the standard VM. So you'll click here and hit continue. On this page, you'll hit create. And this will take you to the configuration page for your virtual machine. We'll start by picking our subscription, which will typically be pay-as-you-go unless otherwise specified by your organization. Next, you will assign a resource group for your resource to belong in. So we are setting up a virtual machine, which is an Azure resource, and all resources must belong to a resource group, and I will just pick Azure Test. Resource groups are simply a way of logically gathering or grouping resources together. Next, we will give our virtual machine a name. In this case, I'll call mine SAP Business Objects Demo VM. You can name your virtual machine anything, just keep in mind that once it's deployed, you cannot change it, so just make sure that it's something meaningful to you. Next, I'll pick a region. In this case, I'll just pick the default, which is the East US region, because that makes sense for my organization. So for yours, just make sure that your organization dictates whatever region makes sense. For any of these options, you can hover over the I for additional information on how to fill it out. Again, for the availability options, I will keep it as the default, no infrastructure redundancy required. If your organization specifies you to pick another one, you can do so. The image we've actually already specified on that previous page where we picked our package. We picked the standard package as opposed to the premium package, so the image should be set. Azure Spot offers unused Azure capacity at a discounted rate versus a pay-as-you-go rate. So again, determine if you would like to select this with your organization. I'll keep it selected as no. Next, I will pick the size. You'll want to select the size of your virtual machine based on your organization's functional need, meaning how many CPUs and gigs of memory will need to be supported on your virtual machine to support normal business operations. Keep in mind that as the CPUs and gigs of memory increase, so will the usage price per month. In this case, I will pick the default, which is 4 CPUs and 16 gigs of memory. Next, we will set up a username and password for the OS administrator account associated to this virtual machine. In this case, we can pick anything. We'll just pick a username and a password. Finally, we will go ahead and select inbound port rules. Notice by default, the selected inbound port is RDP 3389. Without this selected, we would not be able to RDP onto our virtual machine. So this is very important that we keep this selected. We will also likely want to select port 80, HTTP, to allow access on your virtual machine to the internet to access sites like the CMC and the BI Launchpad. So if you're looking to access those things on your virtual machine, you will want to keep port 80 selected. Once we have allowed port 80 and port 3389 to be inbound port rules, we will go ahead and hit review and create. Now we're on the review and create page, so you can go and look over all of the selections that we've made and make sure that they are what you want. Also important to note here that the price that you're incurring per hour is only actually incurring if your virtual machine is up and running. So you will not be incurring cost if your virtual machine is powered off and deallocated. Another important note is that the price is actually made up of 2 pieces. The first is the Microsoft cost of running the virtual machine, and the second half of the sort of cost incurred is Protiviti's costs of providing the software and business objects licenses on this virtual machine. So those 2 pieces make up the price that we have set as the monthly price. If everything looks good, you'll go on and hit create at the bottom here. And you'll get to a screen like this saying your deployment is underway. It may take a minute or 2 for your virtual machine to be created. Once it is, you'll see a page like this saying your deployment is complete. Now I'll go over how to access your virtual machine and RDP onto it. From the Portal Azure homepage, you can access your virtual machine by hitting the Virtual Machines button up top. You'll be directed to a list of virtual machines that you have deployed. Notice here that this is the one that we've just created, and we can see that it's running. If the virtual machine was not running and we wanted to start it up, we could simply select it and hit Start up here. To gather the public IP address to be able to remote desktop or RDP onto your machine, you're going to have to click the virtual machine itself, and you'll see the public IP address towards the top right corner of the page. Next, we will go ahead and pull up the remote desktop connection so that we can RDP onto our machine. We will hit Show Options. We will go ahead and put that public IP address from the Azure page here, and we will put the username that we created when we were setting up our virtual machine here and hit Connect. Connect again. It will then ask you for the password, and you simply enter the password that you set up during the creation of the virtual machine and hit OK. Hit Yes, and you will start connecting to your virtual machine. Once you're connected to your virtual machine, please notice that the Protiviti offering has created a few handy shortcuts and quick information points available to you. If you go ahead and click the BI Admin Tools folder, you'll see that we have shortcuts to a few of the different things that you will likely need to be accessing regularly, like the CMC. If you go ahead and click the BI Client Tools folder, you'll see that we have placed the regularly used BI applications here for you, like Lumira or Webby or Crystal Reports. You'll also find a README guide that tells you about the image you've just created, where and what versions of the SAP Business Objects software are installed. You will also see information over here entitled What's New that tells you about the new features of the BI platform version installed on this virtual machine. If you anticipate needing support from us, you can open the registration guide found here on the desktop, and you'll go ahead and you'll enter all of your contact information when prompted. Things like your company name, username, email, phone number, etc. You'll go through and you'll enter the information, set up an account ID, hit submit, and then you'll be ready to receive support from us. To find the admin password to log into Business Objects or find any other credentials related to this virtual machine image, you'll go ahead and open your file browser, go to the C drive, and you'll see a README folder here. If you click into that README folder, you'll see a text file with passwords. If you go ahead and open that text file, you'll see your administrator password to be able to log into Business Objects and the CMC, and you'll see other related credentials to this virtual machine in that text file. If you go ahead and open the keys text file, you'll see the license keys that are associated with this virtual machine. To actually log into the CMC, you can go back to the BI Admin Tools. You can find the CMC and click onto that shortcut. The important thing to note here is in the system, the name either needs to display localhost or the name of the virtual machine that you designated when you were setting this up in Azure. To find the name of the VM that you gave when you were setting up in Azure, you would simply right-click on the Start menu, hit System, and you'll see the computer name right here. So in this case, I named it SAP BOBJ Demo VM. So I could go ahead and add that to the system name here. Administrator will stay, and the password will again be what you found at the pass text file location. You will add that password here. The authentication will be enterprise, and you'll hit log on. And then you'll be taken into the CMC homepage. So as you can see, the offering comes with some shortcuts so that you can go ahead and start using your SAP Business Objects environment readily and easily. Thanks for listening, and we've just learned how to spin up an Azure virtual machine with SAP Business Objects Ready capability according to the Protiviti offering.